I know you want it, like I know you deeply want it, and maybe you needed somebody to tell you to start with it now and to make it tangible in your plan. It's exciting. I feel like I'm writing the script for my own life. Like I feel a bit like in a movie, and I will have these crazy experiences where I face my fears. Let's go. You might ask yourself, what is a scary list? It's pretty simple. You basically take all your fears, write them down on a list, and then face them one by one. I always admired people who are brave, who just go into the uncomfortable spaces, confront themselves with difficult situations, and just do it. I wanted to be like this too, and I read a lot of books, scientific, spiritual, self-improvement books, and it all makes sense. We want to be accepted, we don't want to be rejected. For example, from an evolutionary perspective, the ones who were different, who were rejected by the group, they didn't survive. But the ones who conformed, they enjoyed the safety of the group. Fortunately, we don't live in times like that anymore. What I want to say is, I understood the reasons why I feel scared, but it doesn't really help me. In psychology, there's something called confusing insight with improvement. We learn about something, understand the structures, the background, but it literally changes nothing in our reality. Like, just because we know what healthy food is, doesn't mean we actually improved our health. So it doesn't matter how many books you've read unless you put your knowledge into actions. This is where our scary list comes in. It's a practical plan to manifest the experiences of overcoming our fears in our lives. And I will take you as my accountability buddies to go through my own scary list, so it may get a little personal in here. And to make it really practical and tangible, we will make a plan for it on Notion. And don't worry, you can have this template, just comment me and I will upload it. But now I have like 6 subscribers, from which 50% are friends and family. So yes, but we are growing, we're still growing, it's the start. I'm having a positive outlook for the future. So just comment me and I will be happy to upload it for you. Okay, so I'm here with my laptop and let's dive directly into Notion. First, I will just write down my fears as precisely as I can. The Notion template I use is actually from another YouTuber, and her name is Dora, and she made this template for her 12-week goal plan, like to reach goals that you would want to reach within 1 year, to reach them faster within 12 weeks, I'm sorry. So I took this template and modified it a bit to focus it on our fears. So first we see some nice cover, you can change it if you want, but the progress bars that show you how far you are in your week, in your month, in your quarter, in your year, I think they can be very helpful. A nice playlist that you can also put your motivation songs into it. Let's go and first write down our fears. I will briefly explain you my fears that I will write down. My first fear is traveling to a far country outside the EU. I'm living in Germany, so I live inside the EU. My fear is when traveling outside the EU that the hygienical standards may not be as good as here. I have the fear of food poisoning or of being robbed and not getting any help. And also when you travel, I'm afraid of getting exhausted and like not being able anymore to care for myself, if that makes any sense. Like if you're a person who is easily overwhelmed by a lot of stimulation, I think you know what I mean. But yes, you don't need to be a backpacker who goes every day to another destination. Like there's also something called slow traveling, and I think I see myself more in this context. So this is my first fear. And a side note, the order of the fears doesn't say anything about the intensity or size. I just drop everything that is on my mind here. Fear number 2 is the fear of telling my friends that I have a YouTube channel, fear of being judged as superficial, the fear of rejection, of course. Sometimes I almost forget that I have this fear, but on the other hand, it's like present for me every day, and I think about how should I tell them, and then I convince myself, no, nobody asked you, so you don't need to tell anybody. But it feels like a pressure on me that I actually want to say it, but I don't know how the reactions will be, and that's why I keep it to myself, which is why we take this fear and put it into our list. I waste so many thoughts on this fear, it's crazy. If I just think about how much time I just invest into the same thoughts. Like there was a study, I don't know what the exactly percentage was, but the big majority of our thoughts that we think every day, they're repetitive and they're like, in many cases, negative and repetitive. Sometimes we think, okay, we're overthinking, but we're like searching for a solution, but that's not true. We just go through the same thoughts over and over. So if we release this fear and overcome it, we just make space for other thoughts to come, or even for no thoughts. This would be also a very nice thing, to have breaks of thoughts. And it's also connected to the fear of showing myself as I am and not hiding behind the image. If we found a safe image, like a safe image of ourselves that we know it's accepted by the others, it's really easy to just stick with it and like just keep this kind of character, because we know that it's compatible and we will not have any conflicts and it's maybe easier. But of course we develop, and so we shouldn't stay just with something because we know that other people like it. Yes, it's heavy. I think I can make a therapy session here. Let's go over to my third fear, and this is the fear of filming publicly. I'm ashamed of that. I cannot say something else. Social media in my friend circles has a negative touch. Like if you're very much on Instagram and YouTube and it's like regarded something as something negative, as procrastination, and I know it has a huge negative side because you could waste a lot of time there, but from the creator perspective, social media, it's very nice. And I think also the consumers have an advantage from it if they consume the content consciously and not too much. But of course it's very hard to make the cut and say no, this is enough for today, and I will sit with the inspiration that I've got from this, I don't know, 2 Instagram posts, and I will not scroll through hundreds of Instagram posts. Yes, but I think because it's regarded as something negative, I have also the fear of showing myself like I'm part of the social media bubble. But it's all in my head, right? I can talk nonsense. It's all my perspective on life, and as we know, it's not always true what we think. Fear number 4, and this is a fear I really want to overcome. It's the fear of talking to strangers, to complete strangers, for example on the streets, but also in new groups. One of my dreams is to make an interview kind of YouTube video where I just go on the streets and ask strangers and people questions and get to know their opinions and advices. Do you know this one YouTuber, like I don't know the name, but he goes to strangers and then he asks like a bit older people, like not 20-year-old people, and he asks what would be something that you would prioritize now more when you were younger, and what would you prioritize less. And I think there's so much value in these videos, especially because these people, they have the life experience. So I would love to do a video like that. You probably get rejected a lot on the streets, and maybe 1% of the people will agree to shoot a video with you and post it on social media, but still I would love to do it. And the only obstacle to overcome and to jump over is my fear of talking to strangers. But we can work on that. You will see how in 1 minute. Let's go over to the next fear. My fear of wearing non-traditional clothes. I don't like so much attention. Like, I like attention. I would not do this YouTube channel if I wouldn't like attention at all. But I don't like it too much if it's focused on me and I'm present in the room. I would love to try new styles, maybe a new haircut, but I don't like this thought of being in this awkward situation where people wonder what I did with my clothes or with my hair. Uncomfortable feelings here. Continuing with awkward feelings, I want to get comfortable with awkward silence. And I think this fear is connected to my fear of talking to strangers, but awkward silence can also happen in conversation with people you already know. So just staying with it, because I'm a person, after 1 millisecond I start to say something totally irrelevant just to kill this awkward silence, because I cannot stand it just being with a person and nobody's saying something and I'm like screaming inside myself, do something against this. I think it's also something cultural that it's not nice when you're with a person and nobody is saying something. It's like regarded as a strange situation. And I don't like the conversations myself that result from this, yes, saying something random and talking about the weather or about things that are like not relevant to me at all. Like, these are boring conversations. I'm looking forward to growing with you. If you like this video so far, leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. It would be super helpful to reach more people and to grow this little community. And the last fear that I will put in my scary list is FOMO. I'm scared of FOMO. Double fear, fear of missing out. Because always when I go to a new place, I'm feeling like I need to see everything. I need to go to every site, take a picture of everything and experience everything, and if I don't do it, I missed out on something and it's like a waste of money, of time. It's not a good thing. It's a not nice way to travel. I want to travel more intuitively and yes, give away the control and be led by maybe people that you meet on your travels or by coincidences, something like this, and just to release the power. And it's crazy because I realize that my main fears are all about rejection. Like talking to strangers, telling my friends that I have a YouTube channel, it's all about being rejected from a group of people or from a single person. And the other big point is control. I want to control any situation and I'm getting afraid when I start to realize that I don't have the situation under control. Even if you have a realization like this, don't fall into the trap of confusing insight with improvement. The main work lies ahead of us. So this is our Notion template. Of course, this video is not sponsored, I just love Notion. First, you take your list of goals here and write them down, like I did. And then you can take some of them and write them into your quarter of the year. If you want, you can additionally divide them into categories like social fears, overcoming the fear of presenting things in front of a lot of people, business fears, talking to your boss, or being a leader. And then let's dive into our 12-week fear overcoming plan. So now you basically take some of the fears that you wrote in the general list in the beginning and write them down. Let's take 3 and you write them down here. Fear 1, traveling to a far country. Fear 2, telling my friends about the YouTube channel. And fear 3, awkward silence. Perfect. So now we have here a block with strategies. For every fear, you need to take a strategy, which is like a tool to overcome it. Because a fear is something abstract, now we need to make it tangible. For example, if my fear is traveling to a far country, the best strategy would be just to go on a trip. If we split it even more, we need to plan the trip, maybe we need to search for a partner, and then in the end book the flight, book the hostel for the first 2-3 days, and yes, maybe plan some activities, but backpacking. It's all about freedom and you don't need to plan so much ahead. Good. So let's go over to our next fear. And this is telling my friends about my YouTube channel. Make a phone call and tell your friends. And maybe before, something that really helps me like to actually go the step is think about the worst case scenario. This is about what could be the worst thing that happens to you. Like the worst thing would be that my friends would tell me we don't like you anymore, and this sounds already so ridiculous. I know they wouldn't tell me. What would be the best case scenario? That they just accept it and that everybody leads their own life and that it's not even that important for them. Like that they support me, but it's not like they're focused on my channel. Strategy 3 would be maybe tell one friend first. And then tell the rest. Awkward silence. So what strategies could I use here? For example, be present in family conversations. What is the worst case scenario here? That you just stare each other into the eyes and yes. And practicing it with family and friends. Like with people where you know that it's like not a strange thing, and even if it's a strange thing, they are your family. So now we go into the confrontation mode. So here's a toggle list for every month, and if you click it, you see an overview of all the weeks. So it's really focused on making it as precisely as you can, the planning. In the upper line we see our fears. And for each fear, I take now the strategies and put them down on the days where I want to take this action. Wow, I am free now. I wrote on Monday my last exam and now I'm free. I don't need to study for 1.5 months. And so I want to use this time to go traveling. Actually, I have work to do in the end of my semester breaks. If I decide to go traveling, I need to do it now. I will write down on Wednesday to choose a country, and on Thursday I want to talk to my friend, and yes, then I want to decide, because if there is no decision there will be no result. Saturday I want to search for flights, and on Sunday I want to book the flight. Then I would already be in my fear overcoming process. So here I don't know how it will be in the next weeks, like here I could plan activities. Let's go to the next fear, which is telling my friends that I have a YouTube channel. I feel in my chest that I don't want to do it. Like I want to do it, but at the same time I'm saying like, no, it will hurt. Like not even it will hurt, but this uncomfortable feeling. Never mind. I will call my friend on Thursday and I will do a list one day before to imagine the worst case scenario. I think that's it for now, and maybe in the next week we'll tell my other friends together. Tell my other friends. Whew! It's getting real. And fear number 3, awkward silence. I want to meditate about this topic, so I will schedule meditation also for Wednesday. It's like meditation, 9 AM. If it sounds weird for you, I like this technique, but you just sit down and you just let every thought come into your mind, but you try to stay like as neutral as you can and just observe your thoughts. Like Eckhart Tolle kind of style. I don't know if you know him. I can recommend him 100%. On Saturday we have a family dinner, so there I will not try like to lead the conversation all the time. And yes, and then you can continue like this with other fears and plan them into your months. In the end, your weekly plan should be filled pretty well with real-life actions that you will do to face your fears step by step. But don't get me wrong, you don't need to overcome every fear and confront yourself with every fear. There are some fears that we don't need to overcome if we don't want to. I'm not going to lie, without a decent pressure on you, it will be very hard to achieve any result. So find the right balance. Imagine now following your plan, and after 1 month you will have a look at this template and see how brave you were. Maybe at the end of the month some fears are not fears anymore to you. Then continue on your journey. There's a lot of space for things to overcome and a lot of amazing experiences on the way. I really recommend you journaling on the way and how you feel about the experiences you have made, and really to integrate them into your personality and not like just check them like in a list and go next to the next fear. I hope this video really motivates you to do something about your fears. You can achieve a lot and change a lot in a short period of time, so get to it now. And I know you want it, like I know you deeply want it, and maybe you needed somebody to tell you to start with it now. It's exciting. I feel like I'm writing the script for my own life. Like I feel a bit like in a movie, and I will have these crazy experiences where I face my fears. I will keep you updated and make maybe videos about my small fears and my small journeys. And then we'll see each other in the next video. If you like this video, leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. It would be super helpful to reach more people and to grow this little community. Bye bye, have fun with your fear overcoming plan. Love you all, bye bye.